All right, the last video that we're going to do in this additional proof packet is number 5. Number 5 I can see is definitely working with angles. So I want to start getting any of the properties that have to do with angles in my mind. Maybe angle addition postulate, maybe angle bisector, maybe vertical angles. It could be anything. Just keep in mind, we're probably going to have to use something to do with angles in this proof. So I am given that the measure of angle QPS is equal to the measure of angle RPT. That's given to me, so my first reason is given. I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out what they're doing in statement 2. So in statement 2, I've got the measure of angle QPS, so I'm going to highlight that in blue here. That's equal to the measure of angle QPR, that's this little guy, plus the measure of angle RPS. That's this one. So what I can see, this looks like a part plus part equals a whole, right? I've got two little angles, two little adjacent angles that add together to make the larger angle. Well, part plus part equals whole, when we're working with angles, that's an angle addition postulate. That's how we know that the yellow angle plus the orange angle equals the blue. And again, you could abbreviate that AAP if you want. I'm starting to run out of color, so I'm not going to be able to highlight everything. But let's look at statement 3. Okay, I've already got RPS in here. That one's orange. Okay, I can see that the measure of angle RPT, that's this angle here, that's equal to the measure of angle RPS plus the measure of angle SPT. So I got one more color here. I'm going to make it turquoise. So again, this is another little angle plus little angle equals the larger angle. My orange angle plus my turquoise angle adds up to equal the big angle, angle RPT. That's another angle addition postulate. Part plus part equals the whole. And we're working with angles, so make sure you put angle addition postulate, not segment addition postulate. So now we're looking at statement 4, and I've got a lot going on. This isn't really any part plus part equals whole because I've got two things being added on each side. That gives me a little clue that we're probably using the statements up above to get statement 4. So I'm going to start looking for, where do I see these expressions up above? So in number 4, the measure of angle QPR plus the measure of angle RPS. Do I see this anywhere up above? And I see these two being added right here in this equation. Okay. Now I'm looking at this side, the measure of angle RPS plus the measure of angle SPT. Do I see this anywhere? And I do. I see it right here. This might help if I would have kept highlighting. This is green. So somehow we're taking these three statements and we're concluding that these guys are equal to each other. So let's see if we can figure out how we know this. Well, we know that the blue and the green are equal. And here they show up here. So the blue and the green are equal to each other, which must mean that if this is equal to blue and this is equal to green, that these guys also have to be equal. Right? So this is kind of like a substitution where if I know yellow plus orange is equal to blue, I could think of substituting that in for the equation up in number 1. And if orange plus turquoise equals green, then I could substitute that in for green in statement 1, right? If they're equal to each other, I can substitute them in. And notice when we substitute these in for equation 1, we get equation 4. So that's how we came up with equation 4, by substituting, using substitution. Moving on to statement 5. This is a long equation. I want to kind of figure out what's going on. I notice that from equation 4 to 5, there's stuff that's the same. I've got this measure of angle QPR plus measure of angle RPS still there. And I have this piece on this side. So I got to think what's happening on each side of the equal sign. Well, I notice that the measure of angle RPS is being subtracted on both sides of the equal sign. I know it's weird to see because we didn't have enough space to put it all in a line, but here's the equal sign. So this is being subtracted on both sides of the equal sign. Well, when you subtract something on both sides of the equation, you're using the subtraction property. Now, lastly, from step 5 to step 6, you can tell what to get from statement 5 to 6, we're taking the subtraction and we're actually going to do the subtraction, combine like terms to get a more simple equation, right? We didn't just subtract RPS for no reason. So on the left side of the equal sign, my measure of RPS cancels. And on the right side, it cancels as well. And when it cancels, you can see that we're left with the measure of angle QPR equals the measure of angle SPT. This was what we were trying to prove. Our reason for how we got statement 6 was we canceled and we simplified. So remember, when we do that, we call that substitution. We're taking a much more simple equation and we're replacing it with what we had.